Last time we saw Douglas James and Chris Bey, they were on opposite sides. Douglas and Eli Everfly took on Chris Bey and Teddy Hart. So we are excited tonight for a three-way triple threat match. And we expect some exciting action in this one.
Yeah, we do sudden death rules here. First fall wins it. Every man in this matchup, with the exception of Douglas James, has had to re-strategize because Brown and Bey thought they were going to be in a singles match.
Oh, and look at that, a double super kick from Douglas James and Chris Bey. And this is what we expected to see earlier when we announced Douglas versus Chris Bey. And look at this. Look at the defense on these guys.
Mirror imaging each other, same ideas. Chris Bey and Douglas James both have wanted this matchup since the first time it happened about a year ago. And now Andy Brown has been thrown into the mix. Yeah, you want to get hit with another double super kick, also known as the SoCal Special. Oh, no.
And this time they connect again. Andy Brown thought he outsmarted him. Maybe they're not as smart down in San Bernardino.
Maybe not. I don't know much about the area, but what I know now is Douglas James, Chris Bey, the original matchup we had scheduled, and they're about to get it on.
Oh, look at that, the quickness of Chris Bey firing with a big kick to the midsection. Oh! And the suicide dive as Douglas James saw an opportunity, and he took out Andy Brown again.
Andy Brown has not had a lot of luck so far in his FSW debut. Maybe that kiss was bad luck for 7 years here.
And Douglas James, the last time he was here, he didn't let us know till after the match with Teddy Hart that he had suffered a concussion at the hands of Brian Cage just 2 days earlier.
You don't have a concussion protocol here?
I was not aware of it until after the fact. There's nothing you could do about it. When I started hearing him talk, I'm like, is there something wrong with you? And look at this. Oh, and look at that. Chris Bey catches him. Definitely going to be a lot of showmanship in this match. And as he goes for the arm drag takedown, as Chris Bey and Douglas James. Oh, look at that, a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Chris Bey. And look at this, Andy Brown sliding in. And he's found no luck tonight so far.
He has not found any luck. And look at Chris Bey. What is this? Oh, my God. Stepping on his back to drop kick his spine, and he might have him. Chris Bey is wrestling with so much confidence the last few months or so. You think about it, 2 title reigns, robbed of both of them here in FSW. In his mind, he is a top star here in FSW, and it's only a matter of time before he has more gold.
And he definitely doesn't want to have these outsiders, shine over him tonight as Chris Bey trying to get back into that No Limits picture. We have such great talent there. He wants that title shot as Andy Brown. And this time he catches Bey. And it looked like a royal flush. Shades of Kenny King.
Shades of Kenny King, but Andy Brown is looking to make the most of his debut in FSW. He didn't expect Douglas James to be added to this equation. Sudden death rules here. First fall wins it. Andy Brown, same position Douglas James was in a little over a year ago, trying to make an impression in Las Vegas.
And earn a spot on that FSW roster as we are continuing to grow. We have the best from all over Arizona, California, Utah, New Mexico, as Andy Brown is just drilling Chris Bey. A little bit of a release suplex.
He hurled him across the ring, might have him, but Andy Brown with totally a cocky cover there, almost mocking Chris Bey.
And right now, Andy Brown seems to have settled into this matchup. But again, maybe paying a little bit too much attention to outside forces, but connects with a big forearm once again to the jaw of Douglas James.
He caught Douglas James right in the face, and Andy Brown wasting a lot of time jawing with a fan in the front row, allowing Douglas James time to recover and sidestep and hit the drop kick, felt around the world.
And we've seen Douglas James connect with the drop kick and then pin his opponent. One of the rare times you'll see a drop kick finish him off.
It is, and now Andy Brown's in the corner, and Douglas James leaps in with a running European uppercut. And another drop kick in the corner. Brown in the seated position, trapped in the turnbuckle for extra pressure, extra danger.
And right now it's once again Douglas James and Chris Bey, and he connects with a big knee to the side of the head. 1, 2. And these guys came, they said they want to steal the show tonight. As Andy Brown trying to insert himself as a top contender in the No Limits division. Best way to do that is walk away with a victory against these two guys.
It would be. He'd be defeating Chris Bey, a former champion, Douglas James, a former No Limits challenger. It'd be a huge victory for Andy Brown.
And right now, Andy Brown, oh, look at that. The jabs from Douglas James. Look like a palm strike to the face.
Palm strike to the face, and Douglas James now, flurry of offense, hits the big knee and then spikes him with a double arm DDT, and Andy Brown is in trouble, but he's smartly rolling away from Douglas James, creating that separation.
And the crowd enjoying the action going on so far. Douglas James, Chris Bey, and Andy Brown. And Andy Brown, not sure he knows that he's even in Vegas. Oh! And Douglas James walks into Chris Bey. And once again, Douglas James is down. And here comes Chris Bey with the running clothesline. The reversal. Oh, and look at this. I'm not sure if he slipped, but either way, it kind of worked out for Chris Bey, and there he is.
I don't know what that was called, but I finished it with a crucifix driver, compressing the vertebrae of Douglas James, and Chris Bey has got to follow up, but Andy Brown is back into the fray.
And that's the way to slow things down, connect with a big shot to the jaw as Douglas kind of rolls to the outside. And look at that, Andy Brown moves out of the way. Oh, and look at that, the agility of Chris Bey. Oh. And he rolled him into a tornado DDT. And the cover, 1, 2.
Only a 2 count. Chris Bey thought he would have had Andy Brown, hoping he gets Douglas James, but no, not enough. Too much time in between the time he delivered the DDT and going for the cover on James to finish him off.
And both of these guys look a little spent, all three of them, by the way, as Douglas James shaking his head, trying to get the cobwebs out. And Chris Bey looking for a second wind as Andy Brown gets to his knees. And it looks like he and Douglas James are crawling toward each other. And it's, not much on that effort.
Yeah, not much on those previous shots, but Chris Bey still got something left in the tank to try and get some good impact on those shots. Douglas James, Andy Brown, slugfest, center of the ring. Not enough for these men to be on their feet, though. They don't have that much left. Slowly, though.
And all three men have gotten to their feet, and now these guys are starting to fire away once again. There's a lot more on their punches than there was, and look at this.
Just windmilling each other. Who's gonna crumble first? All of them running out of gas at the same. Oh no! Oh, same idea once again. Andy Brown, though, this. And we're at a stalemate once again. These guys are thinking alike tonight.
And listen to the crowd. They are behind it. They are enjoying what they are seeing as the triple kick knocks them all down. As the referee makes the count, who will get to his feet first. And once again, the referee is up to the 5 count. And the crowd trying to get behind the hometown hero, Chris Bey. And they are trying to rev him up tonight here at the FSW Arena. Make sure you check us out, subscribe, follow us at twitch.tv/Future Stars of Wrestling as Andy Brown is firing up as he connects. And it looks like he almost takes the head off of Chris Bey.
And what is Andy Brown going to do here? Oh, my God. Fireman's carry into a backcracker. He might have him, but Douglas James not letting it go down like that. Remember, first fall wins this one.
And it looked like as Andy Brown was going to walk away with the victory here in his debut. But thank God Douglas James showed up today, or Chris Bey might have been a loser.
Yeah, Chris Bey would have been defeated and would have been a big win for Andy Brown in his debut, but it wasn't meant to be, at least not yet.
And Andy Brown connects on Douglas James. He's got him up. And look at this. Douglas James nails him. It could be it. 1, 2. And only a 2.
Only a 2 count. Low super kick from James. Could have him, but Bey rolls in and breaks it up. Chris Bey is going to do whatever it takes to not come out of this match a defeated man.
All three of these guys, the punishment that these guys are handing out as well as they are taken. And right now it's Douglas James on top of Chris Bey. And look at that, a huge spine buster. And Bey has got him up.
Bey's got him up. Douglas James swung around, and right, fireman's carry, Michinoku driver, and he almost has him. Chris Bey thought he was done. Chris Bey cannot afford another loss in FSW, especially in another 3-way matchup.
And the crowd trying to get behind Bey. They want to see him walk away tonight with a big victory. As Chris Bey, you could see him breathing heavy, Jake. You could tell that he is close to being out of gas.
Yeah, Chris Bey slowly ascending to the top. Usually Chris Bey is much quicker on his feet to get there. Look at Douglas James drop kicking the life out of Chris Bey and now tangling him up and brings him down with a code breaker.
And this could be it as Douglas James. And it looks like he is going up top. Oh, and he connects with the frog splash. 1. Oh, and look at this. Andy Brown is right there to pounce.
Andy Brown, double underhook, power bomb. Might be 1 second away from getting the first Oh, man. I thought he was going to get his victory in his first FSW matchup. But Douglas James wasn't going to let it happen. And now Douglas James rolls to the outside where he can't be defeated.
And this is what I love, Jake, about 3-way dances and 4-ways. There's so much action in these matches. And thanks to the other guy on the other side, especially when the one pinfall wins, it takes an awful lot to be able to get a pinfall victory in one of these matches.
Yeah, so many variables in multi-man matches. And Chris Bey and Andy Brown had no idea Douglas James was going to be added into this matchup. Douglas James had a plan earlier today.
And Andy Brown fires away with a big right hand. And he nails Bey with another one, who is on one knee. And he is getting up. And Andy Brown winds up, and this time down goes Chris Bey.
Down goes Chris Bey, but look at the anger on Chris Bey's face. Chris Bey isn't going to be defeated by a newcomer. He saw the reactions of the men in the locker room when he was the newcomer defeating them. He doesn't want to be one of those people.
And Chris Bey blocks one, and now he starts firing away as Andy Brown. Oh! And he connects with the big left, the southpaw. But look at this. As Andy Brown counters. Oh, and look at the quickness of Chris Bey. Misses with one, and then connects with the second. Oh, right there. That lethal combination with the big knees. But Chris Bey still has something left in the tank.
Chris Bey still has something left. Andy Brown still has something left, and Douglas James, they all still have something left, but the question is, how much do they have left? And who's going to come out of this with the victory? Look at Chris Bey with another vicious kick, sending Douglas James down. But that allowed time for Andy Brown to recover.
Oh, and Andy Brown perched on the top rope. And look at this. The Canadian Destroyer.
Canadian Destroyer Chris Bey essentially just absorbed it and delivered another spinning kick and now another Enziguri-style kick. Bey is trying to chop this tree down with his lethal feet.
And once again, Chris Bey has got him up.
Bombay out of Chris Bey, wraps him up and gets him.
And he is victorious. A great effort once again. Great matchup. The crowd on its feet for this one.